just the game that you never quite got into?
Well, obviously, I think it was 65% of possession and maybe more territory. 18 penalties, 2 yellow cards. It's difficult to get into the game when you're giving them so much. Most of the time, they don't need that much ball to score. And at the same time, I was really proud of the effort, because normally when you play like that against the All Blacks and you give them 70% territory and possession and that much penalty and 2 yellow cards, normally the score is much higher. But our boys, I think it was like 210 tackles or 220 tackles. You don't see those many tackles nowadays. So really proud of the effort. We need to be more clinical.
You played the 2 different styles, South Africa in a bunch and now New Zealand. What was the big difference that perhaps the players didn't adapt to as well as you?
No, I wouldn't say the big difference. Or I would say that the common theme is ill discipline. We had the second game against South Africa. We had 23 penalties, and we had 18 today and 2 yellow cards, and a couple of those penalties came from several advantages. So you can add a couple more penalties too. So it's difficult. It's difficult to get any grasp of the game when you're being so indisciplined.
So you weren't. You're not criticising the referee. You're criticising the ill discipline of your own players.
You heard it like I was criticising the ref.
No. I'm just wondering.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm saying we were ill-disciplined. I'm not putting any videos on internet and stuff like that. So I'm fine. I'm fine. If I have something to say to the refs, I'll tell the refs.
You're very strong. About 10-15 metres from your own try line. We've got a couple of big turnovers in that situation there, and very, very strong in that area. That's what you're talking about in terms of being very proud of that.
Yeah, 100%. Julian got a couple, Pablo got a couple, but we didn't capitalize those occasions. Most of them finished in a lineup for them 20 meters out, so the pressure was still there. And then when you have territory pressure and you have scoreboard pressure against this kind of teams that they're the best in the world, it gets too hard.
The bubble last year at the Tri Nation seemed to bring out the best in opponents. Do you feel it's different this time? Has it been too long?
Look, there's not a simple answer to that, but since last year we've been living in adversity. So March last year we lost Super Rugby, and then players had to go elsewhere, so find another job. That on one hand it was that, and obviously we lost any tier, let's put it, tier 1 competition in terms of franchise. So we had to find our way in South America, and that's what we got. And nowadays 90% of our players, if not more, that started today are playing in the Northern Hemisphere, and we are competing in Southern Hemisphere. And obviously these guys, they finished their season a month ago or a little bit more. Then they played the July tests, then they went on holiday, and then back from holiday we had four training sessions to play South Africa. So the first game of the preseason, that normally you're playing in Orange against the Emus or something, you played against South Africa. And so all the welfare, the player welfare, and giving them rest and stuff like that got out the window, and nobody seems to care when it's one of the top teams going into quarantine or not traveling and this and that. It seems to be a big issue, player welfare and even mental health and stuff like that. When it's against Argentina, nobody seems to care. Nobody was talking about us being in quarantine. We've been in quarantine and bubbles in the July tests. We were in bubbles in South Africa. We came over here, we were in bubbles and quarantine, and nobody seems to care. Nobody's talking about that. But we take it in the chin. It is what it is, and I'm not putting it as an excuse, but that's a reality, and I'm trying to answer your question as best as I can. But that's the reality or the normality of our players that has nothing to do with normality.
Mario, have any of your players approached you or maybe your team manager and expressed how difficult it has been mentally to cope with the circumstances?
Well, I mean, we're all dealing with that. It's been more than 2 years we've been playing overseas. We didn't have one home game in 2 years, and every time we have to play against international teams, we're in a bubble or in quarantine and in our rooms. Obviously, it was much better this year, but it's still a quarantine, so it gets to you, and it gets to players, it gets to staff, it gets to everybody. But again, it is what it is, and if we don't accept that, we're out of the picture. So we accept it.
Could the frustration off the field that you're experiencing with so much adversity be sort of triggering some lack of discipline on the field? Like players go out feeling a little bit?
Don't know, and I don't want to put it as an excuse. So I wouldn't say that. No, they should know better.
You feel like now that your 14 days of isolation are over, life's going to get better here in Australia for a little while?
Well, it is better, but it's been a month already. I was away from home, and we have a couple of weeks more to go. But again, it is what it is. I don't want to use an Australian word, whinging. I don't want to be, because I'm not. I'm trying to answer your questions, but I'm not putting anything as an excuse or whinging or anything.
With the All Blacks, though, there's definitely their defence out wide is building to take intercepts all the time. You nearly got caught out once, I think, late with Rico Ioane putting on the ground. How important is it to police the offside line in rugby? It just seems everyone gets closer and closer. You're almost back lines are joined.
Yeah, we knew that they bring a much higher line speed in their defense. They changed that since last year, I think. We've been penalized a lot in South Africa for that, and obviously South Africa does like a rush defense, maybe the only team in world rugby that does and they don't seem to get penalized a lot. But it's up to the refs. I mean, it's up to the ref. I know why you're asking that question, but I cannot answer it better than that.
Okay, good test match to watch.
Julián, ¿le haces un balance en castellano, por favor, para la prensa que está ahí en Argentina? De lo que quedó del partido y lo que tengamos que mejorar. Pensamientos, por favor.
Sí, como decíamos recién, creo que en cuanto a posesión y a territorio, ellos tuvieron mucho más que nosotros y la indisciplina volvió a ser un factor clave. Tenemos muchas cosas por corregir y la verdad que no hay mucho tiempo. Hoy que dura lo que tengo que leer, veremos el partido, seremos autocríticos y arrancar la semana entrenando duro. No hay atajos, no hay ni una fórmula mágica, sino seguir entrenando y hoy se vio claro donde tenemos que mejorar. Así que, como dije recién, seguir entrenando y nada, mirar para adelante.
Muchas gracias.
Boys,
Mario,
have a good one.
good fortune.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.